Hello and welcome to Women's World on Global Television, a program where we shine a spotlight on issues that shape the lives, dreams, and future of women and girls across Nigeria and beyond. I am Kike Lomo Okere, and as always, I have my co-anchors of the program with me, Anita Patrick.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Join us on Women's World always.
Yeah, on this edition, we turn the focus to a troubling reality, the rising cases of child pregnancy, particularly in undeserved community, and what must be done to protect the future of young girls. And joining us for this important conversation is a woman whose work continues to inspire change. She is the MD CEO Mesba Art Studio, an advocate for women empowerment, and founder of Our Future Initiative. She has worked for years providing safe space, education, and mentorship for vulnerable girls. She is Memuna Yahaya. Welcome to the studio, man.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You look great. I like the attire, the combo.
Thank you. Thank you. You look beautiful.
Thank
Both
you.
of you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.
All right, Ma, to set the stage, to set the ball rolling, you've spent years in communities where child pregnancy has become almost normalized. From your personal interaction, what would you say is the biggest drive behind this rise?
Talking about teenage unwanted pregnancy,
Yes.
or pregnancies out of wedlock or underage pregnancies, a lot of times this is as a result of so many factors, but we start with parenting issues, poverty issues, health, and then the community as a whole. You cannot talk about teenage pregnancies without talking about parenting.
Exactly.
The parents, the upbringing, the interactions, the people that these children interface with, a lot of time has a lot of role to play on the issue of unwanted pregnancies. It's prevalent in some communities. I have encountered a lot of them, and so it becomes worrisome. And now we're thinking, okay, let's do something about it. Let's produce a movie on it. So it can be an advocacy art where we take it round and talk to people in communities on how we can curb, reduce, or limit, if possible, eliminate the issue of unwanted pregnancies amongst our people within our communities.
All right, talking about this, you mentioned poverty, you mentioned parenting. In what aspect, because parents believe that once they marry their child out at early age, the poverty will reduce, the men will carry the burden and all that. So how are you trying to give them more, let's say an enlightenment to understand that as a girl child, you need to be able to fend for yourself. You need to be able to stand on your own before getting into marriage, especially early marriage?
It is important for young girls to know that they need to stand on their own. There are things they can do on their own, be empowered, go to school, be educated. But there are some parents who can't afford that. And so it becomes an issue. And there are even parents who could afford it, but yet are not present in the lives of their children while they are growing up, maybe because they are actively working. And then this leaves the children at the mercy of the people within the house who tend to the children, either family members, uncles, aunties, drivers, or people around the neighborhood who would put the children in that condition that we are quarreling against or we're trying to avoid. So what we need to do is educate these children so they know that it is their right to be educated. It is their right to know that they can fend for themselves. I remember growing up as a child, my father would line us up every Friday and give us money and say, look, Don't follow a man because you think you can get money. You can work for yourself. There is dignity in working and earning your own money. That was my father, who had female children, mostly female children. And so he would educate us. Every weekend, he would give us money and say, this is spending money, granite money, suya money, so that you have something and you know that you can work on your own, you can stand on your own, you can do things on your own, and you don't have to lean towards anyone because you're looking for some measure of comfort. These days, you have parents who even tell a girl child to go out there and do what their mates are doing. Go bring the money in. If somebody is bringing money, why don't you go bring it in? There are parents who would also tell their children, go and get married, bring me a husband, I want to see grandchildren. Not minding whether they are of age or whether they are ready mentally or physically for marriage or the institution marriage.
I like the fact that you've been able to establish these issues and what are the fundamental concerns or problems young girls tend to face. Poverty is the bottom line, which sometimes the word of ignorance can play out as well. So let's look at the focus. We've seen life scenarios, we've seen circumstances where, like you mentioned, where the families will tell you, go bring the man. That places the lady under a lot of tension, a lot of demand, pressure comes into play as well. But for you as an expert who understands the role of modeling and centering them around empowerment and standing tall for themselves, what would you say are your life experience in terms of mentoring these girls to understand that education is key, yes, but self-confidence, self-awareness should be their focal point. Like you mentioned, you came from a family background that had lots of girls. And you know, from the scenario of what we have picture from our parents who didn't understand a better picture would tell you, what's the female child doing? The female child has nothing to offer. But today, society has changed. Things have changed. So from your mentorship program of what you do for the girl child, paint us a picture of how you've been able to mentor them to see the self-awareness to stand tall.
Okay, at my training institute, we talk to girl children. We tell them, even girls and boys, we bring them together and we help them understand that they have a right. They can be whoever they want to be. And we train them, teach them to speak, teach them to earn a living, earn a skill, so that they can fend for themselves. It starts first from the mind. When you're mentally ready for it and you feel like you know it, you are aware of what you can do for yourself and how you can be empowered, you will know that you don't need the next person to make you who you want to be or what you want to be. It's okay to have help from someone, but it's not okay to be taken advantage of because you're getting help from someone. So it's part of the education that we give to them, let them know. And then when they are on holidays, we also train them to have skills in the area of photography, public speaking, event management, and then we take them out physically. We take them to sites to go see where people are doing things. There's a story I read just yesterday about an airline being floated by a woman. Such Binani airline, such stories encourages women to make them understand that if one person can't do it, I am also capable of doing it. Or if that person has done it, then there is hope for me that I will do it. So what we do is educate them more and more to be aware of their capabilities. We also educate them to know that it is possible and they can achieve whatever they want to achieve only if they dedicate themselves and commit themselves to the training, understanding, and the exposure, the right kind of exposure that will give them advantage position in life. And so we expose them to such opportunities. If my students were here today, I probably would have come with them to the studio to see you and I sitting down and having this conversation. It gives them a mental picture that it's doable, it's achievable. I can get there only if I focus and do the right thing at the right time.
So let's look at this. You've mentioned once in an interview where you had your training programs and all that, and you've talked about issues where girls sometimes have to hide the pregnancies when it comes into play for them? Because one, there's the
stigmatization
and all that.
Isolation.
So that's one concern we've had. Yes, because some of them are not privileged to get the training you offer, and they get to fall into such circumstances where they're asked to go get money, get something. So how do you help them survive that phase of their life through your mentorship program?
Okay, a lot of times parents feel embarrassed when a child comes home and says, I'm pregnant.
They deny you straight up.
They deny you sometimes. They even disown you. Yes, they throw you out, under the bus, and leave you to fend for yourself. To fend for yourself.
That's true.
This person is already in a very critical condition.
Traumatized, actually.
The person is traumatized. The person has no clue of where they are going. And then you throw them under the bus and leave them to fend for themselves. It makes it impossible and makes it difficult. So it's like going from frying pan to fire for the child. But the parents are not looking at that. They look at the embarrassment that this child has brought, the shame, the societal ills, and that's all the focus on, their pride, their ego, their image, and the family image that the child is destroying. They don't even ask, how did it happen? When did it happen? How did you get to that point? At least you listen to the child to know what exactly happened. Some take them out to go have an abortion. And in the process, they lost their lives. And so that is also another issue. So in counseling, we don't just counsel the children. We counsel the girl child who is underage. And then we also get to speak with the parents. So they know that, oh, it's happened. We know that children are not an embarrassment in any way, irrespective of how they came into the world. If they are there, they are there. There's nothing you can do. Accept the child and make the best of the situation. Nurture this girl child back to school. Let her have the baby and then make her go through some understanding and training or a mental overhauling to understand that, look, all the things have happened. It's a mistake. You don't have to die because you made that mistake. But you can pick the pieces of your life up and begin to realign your thoughts and then realign your movement upward. And go back to school, get an education, and you can be able to fend for yourself and fend for the child, and not leave the child also in dilemma. It also comes with a lot of health issues. When they are underage, there are complications that come with it. IVF, VVF, yes. And so you see loss of blood, then the mental trauma that goes with it. Some of them don't recover for life. Even though they get back to school, and then have a proper education, normal life, but they don't feel the same anymore. So it takes a lot of counseling, a lot of mentoring, a lot of understanding, patience with these children to know that, okay, now you're a mother, it's your reality. Face it and forge ahead.
In my own opinion, I think the mother has a lot to do in this. As in, in order to curb this kind of situation from occurring, the mother needs to be a friend, and at the same time a friend to the child, especially the girl child, because if you're a friend to, I believe that if you're a friend to your child, she will be able to open up to you. Sure. In as much as you're trying to play that mother role, you're trying to be strict, at the same time there is, I think there's supposed to be a balance. That's what I felt, that it will help to curb this kind of situation, this kind of teenage. Though there are some girls that their head is hot, you know, they want to. You have the Gen Zs, they want to taste the water. But in as much as they want to do that, I believe the mother has a big role to play in this. You need to be a friend to your child. You need to come down to their level. Do you understand? You need to see yourself like Gen Zs too. You understand? It's the truth. That's what I felt that will help to curb this kind of reoccurring situation of girl child, unwanted pregnancy, stigmatization and all that. Because I believe that if you're a friend to your child, she will be able to tell you some things. She can even go out, maybe you send that message out, she can be able to come back and say, Mommy, somebody toasted me on the road today.
Yeah.
Yes, those scenarios play out. But let's look at this particular story that played out. We're talking about the issue of early pregnancies and how we can shelve that and see how we can move away from stigmatization and all that. Recently, I did one in the southeastern states where the governor has abolished the issue of early marriages and also talked about the issue of how you need to avoid having a girl child at a tender age, have a life and dreams cut short. So in your advocacy and all that, what you do for that, how do you teach them to understand that first thing first, life is a ladder.
Exactly.
You need to climb them every stage of the way. You don't jump it. Yes, the society we live in today embrace where girls are in school and marriage coming, they encourage you to get married. Nobody's against that. It's your time, it works for you, fine. But for some people, it's been a complication that has paused their lives. So how do you help them in terms of your empowerment plans to see how it doesn't look like a mistake in the long run where their life is paused? Because even in the marriage, when they come in, they still feel that pain. So how do you encourage them through your initiative?
Counseling. Again, I want to say counseling, talking makes all the difference. Being talked to over time, they get to understand the need to stay straight, stay focused, and then go back to retracing their steps and doing what is proper at the right time. Let me give you a scenario. There are some parents that put pressure on their children.
Very true.
Fathers abdicating their responsibilities and avoiding what they ought to do in the household. So it is not just a mother that brings up a child. The father has a very strong, prominent role to play in the life of the child. And then if you see mostly around us, you will realize that female children tend to be closer to their fathers much more than their mothers. There is that affinity, there is that relationship that they share. So when a father becomes absent, even when present, is a major issue in the home. So we will love, and we do that a lot of time. We get the fathers to come together. There are some that we give startup business kind of, establish a business for them so they can do something with themselves. At the end of each training, sometimes the trainings are free. At the end of each training, we also bring in our partners and friends and say, okay, we want scholarship for these people. We want startup pack for these people. And then we have volunteers who will say to us, if you have a child after training in your institute that wants a job, we offer. So we have different organizations that we work with that we provide jobs for these girls, especially those who have gone out of school, dropped off from school. We get them to go back to school and bring in different people to support them. We don't just support them, we monitor their progress over time.
I was about to ask that.
We monitor their progress over time because we want to be sure that they have not derailed, they have not gone back to their ways, and they are still on course. So a lot of times it takes so much of talking, counseling, and monitoring them to ensure that they don't fall back. The stigmatization affects them.
Exactly.
So you have to keep encouraging them over time to realize that, look, it's done. Your past doesn't have to hold brief for your future. You determine the kind of future you want to have and the kind of path you want to walk through.
You're talking about the empowerment. Is it just the teenagers that is pregnant that you're empowering, or you're empowering the teenagers that are not pregnant yet? What is your foundation trying to do? Why the empowerment centered on ending early pregnancy?
Because we know that if their education is cut short, there is a ripple effect. If a girl doesn't go to school, she drops off. It's a problem because she has a child she's going to nurture. If she's not fully developed mentally right herself, what will she impact the younger one?
The younger one.
You say, like we also say, teach a girl, and you have empowered and taught a whole nation.
Yeah.
So you see, as women, we nurture lives. If you don't have good life yourself, what are you offering the next person?
You have nothing. And you have nothing, you can give anything.
Exactly. And then the society, the cultural backgrounds, wherever we come from, there are cultural practices that hinders women, girl child especially. They tell you, oh, you shouldn't amount to this, you can't do this, you are not going to answer your father's name forever, you drop up the name, and so you are not responsible because you're marrying into another family and taking up a new identity. People feel like you don't have space here in your father's house. And then sometimes when you go off in marriage, something goes wrong, you don't have a place to come back to. Because some parents will tell you, go back to your husband's house, make your marriage work. You're embarrassing us. Even when the marriage is killing you.
But it's not supposed to be a do or die
It's not supposed to be a do or die affair. But the culture, religious background, cultural tenets, practices tells you, as a woman, you marry, you make the marriage work. Nobody teaches a male child how
to make the
marriage
work.
to make
Well,
marriage
that's
work.
a whole lot of pressure on the female child.
You see, that's why we need to do this.
Okay.
And we're doing this looking at both the male and the female to ensure that even when we nurture our girl children very well, if they go out there to marry, whoever they are marrying should be ready for them and be ready for marriage as well. And it should be somebody whose state of mind is right for marriage. You're not going to marry a man who will oppress you, intimidate you, and make you feel less of a human being. You see, but the women are at the receiving end every point in time. When you marry, as you're growing up, you get into marriage, when you're having children, sometimes some husbands even tell you that, why are you having female children? It's only female children you have. Who determines the sex of the child? I've seen a man who had walked out of his marriage because the wife had 3 boys. He didn't have a girl. I've seen another one who walked out of marriage because the wife had 4 girls. And he walked away without paying school fees, leaving the woman to fend for the 4 children. So if the women are educated and empowered, they will be able to cater for themselves and cater for the children that they bring into life.
So I like the fact that you've talked about the male folks and how they need to understand their role in all of this, because we've talked about this on the program, where while we try to empower the female child, we should also look at the male child as well, because society always sees the woman as they want to bear the brunt of the society and carry the weight of things, and in the other part of the mindset, they feel a woman is, what can a woman offer?
What's she bringing to the
What's
table?
bringing to the table? But there's a whole lot a woman is bringing to the table. So let's come back to policy making. What would you say policymakers who are watching us right now should do about prioritizing girl children and also setting the standard for the male children?
They should enforce certain laws that would ensure that the girl child is protected. But you see, beyond the policies, you and I have a role to play.
Definitely.
The cultural background has brought men and women to the point where they feel women are less in the society. No matter your education,
No matter.
you walk into a place and you call your name, you can say Professor Memuna, Dr. Memuna, for instance, and they will ask, is she married? Does she have a husband?
That's the first
They
question.
use that to define you. So even if the laws are made, let the laws be reinforced. Let men and women learn to appreciate that the fact that you're female doesn't make you less a human being.
It doesn't actually.
You have a brain and you can use it. You can contribute to these policies, growth and development of the society, irrespective of your sex. So for me, they should enforce laws that would ensure that premarital sex is abolished.
Okay, so I'm looking at that policy.
Yes.
How realistic?
It might not work for now, but over time. Yes.
Over time.
I'm looking at that
If
because
it's
a whole
reinforced.
lot is evolving. The world is evolving. Coming from where we knew how our lives used to be as growing up, the norms, the values, the cultural impact our parents gave to us as growing up, when we're growing up as children. Society has changed. ICT, AI, a whole lot of things. Children are exposed to a whole lot of things. So how will these policies be implemented? Because you see a young child who wants to explore life, who wants to test that thing the adults seem to be enjoying. And that's one of the reasons why we tend to see a lot of child pregnancy these days. And then we have abusers who take advantage of the child and abuse them and put them in that state where they are not supposed to be yet. So how do you do this empowerment or your counseling to guide both the parents to be a serious watchdog, because man needs to be a watchdog right now, over the children, to save them and shelve them from child pregnancy that denies the child the future the child is supposed to have?
See, there is no way we can automatically eradicate the issue of teenage unwanted pregnancies. There's no way.
Okay.
Yeah. Because in the hinterland, in the rural area, there are parents who can't even feed. They would rather get one uncle to give them one piece of land to cultivate in exchange for this. Some of them would actually take their children as far as giving them to these men who can afford to give them. We have legislators who can have these laws, create these laws that can affect the girl child. But you see, enforcing it might be difficult. But if we start, let's look at these the new tax laws that are
how
coming
it came
up
up to play.
in January. Whether you like it or not, taxes are going to be deducted from your account, right? Whether you like it or not. They are not even asking you to come to the table to discuss. The money is going to be taken.
No, but I had a lot of
Yes.
conversations around this whole tax from all stakeholders.
Let's see how the legislators can come up with laws that will enforce this.
You know, the law I'm actually thinking in my head
Yes.
right now is the law that should say if you're not stable enough to provide basic needs, you shouldn't even get married.
Yes.
In the first place, because I don't understand. I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
Salary.
I'm trying to wrap my head around
Yes.
it where you get married, you can do the bedroom work, you can produce the child, yet you give the child to
bring
somebody.
the food to the table.
So you get my picture. So I'm wrapping my head around that right now, because if we're looking at policies and looking at laws, that's why I threw that to you. And yes, it's good to make laws that protect the girl child.
Yes.
But can we do laws that can tell you if you can feed yourself, great. If you can get to the level where you can provide for 2 persons and then you can bring in a child. I'm not saying you need to be a billionaire. I'm not trying to talk tough to say I don't understand the economic situation. But I'm saying it shouldn't deteriorate the point where you need to give your child to pay the price for your inability to provide for the child.
The poor will always have in our midst.
No,
We
we will.
always be
We
there.
will. We will have them.
But you see, it behoves on the legislators to come up with these rules, these laws that will bind us, that will make us more responsible. It's okay to say if you don't have a source of livelihood, don't get married. Some people would not yield to that.
They will still have the
They will
children.
still
who
have the
love
children
anyway.
whether you like it or not.
Married or not married, they will still have the
Exactly.
children.
Imagine some families that will tell you they can't have birth control. They can't do family planning.
And
They will
can't
have
do
children
withdrawal.
as much as God is giving them.
It's a blessing,
Even
they tell
when,
you.
exactly, even when they cannot afford it. They can't cater for these children, but they will tell you, so long as God gives me, I will have
we should thank
them.
God to take away
Because
the
it
ability
is a
to have
blessing
children.
from God.
Just
So
enlightenment.
it needs a reorientation.
Great.
That's why counseling, talking, advocacy,
Yes.
producing this movie and making this artwork an advocacy form for people to listen to and watch. In the course of being entertained, there are teachable
knowledge
moments
is
where you
passed.
take off from, because it starts from us and is within us.
Okay.
And is with us. So as much as we talk, they will hear. And over time, they will come to understand that we don't need to do this, we can do this. But there are some that we might not be able to reach. So from your corner, from my corner, from your table, your desk, you're doing the bit of advocacy that you can, and we will keep doing it until we reach as many of them as possible.
All right, talking about the movie you produced,
Yeah.
Women's Voice in Focus. What makes it different from what we have been seeing, from what we have been hearing about women?
Women's Voices in Focus actually was a symposium. And from that symposium, we intend to produce a movie titled Fractured Dreams. I have produced over 9 movies from in my head. It's a story of a young girl who has different kind of ideas in her head. She listens to herself, she's talking to herself. Her different sides, the different elements of her psychologically, emotionally comes up per time. And then she interacts with herself. Yes. That character was played by me, 7 different characters in one movie.
Oh, great.
And then we have traditions. Traditions talks about the harmful cultural practices. You know, there are harmful cultural practices that the people enforces against women in marriages, especially when there are issues in marriages. When a spouse dies, for instance, in where I come from, if a spouse dies, I was going to say, no, if a spouse dies, the woman is told to die emotionally.
No, exactly. That plays out a whole lot.
No matter how young you are, no matter how old you are, they tell you, stop living because your husband has died. Live for your children. Don't be emotionally involved with any man. Don't even entertain any emotional thoughts. Don't be sexual.
For how long?
For the rest of your life.
So is that a burden or a price to pay?
Exactly. That's what we're saying. Why must it be like that? Let me tell you the ironic part. When it is the woman that dies, a bride, a virgin, is given to the man to sleep with the night.
That's
because your spirit will come and disturb the man. Who makes
does the
these
woman's
rules?
So I like the picture you painted right
Yes.
now.
Who?
So
Who is making it men?
The spirit of the woman comes to torment the man. So what happens to the woman? The spirit of the man does not come to torment.
No, but the woman should die spiritually, physically, emotionally, and otherwise.
But how fair is that?
Not fair at all. That's why we're doing the movies, advocating for change, and then having people to understand that culture can evolve. The society has evolved.
And
we have come from the time when we were in that era where such things were enforced. Right now, we can change. We can revolutionize life. We can be different. We can move on. We can look at rules and regulations differently with the evolving scenario and society that we have today.
Whoa, this is a whole lot to take in, and I'm sure we have a lot. But let's take this breather here, and when we come back on the flip side, we'll have more unfolding of discussions to bring to you on Women's World. Please stay with us.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program,
as always, it's a pleasure to have you. Join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Teacher Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss, and of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
A joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Women can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
a numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Face-to-Face is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time, where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
world leaders in United
Welcome
Nigeria
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Some of them is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
Welcome back. It's still Women's World on Global Television. We've been speaking with MD CEO Mesbah Art Studio, an advocate for women empowerment and founder of our Future Initiative. She has worked for years providing safe space, education and mentorship for vulnerable girls. We're still with Yahaya Memuna on shelving child pregnancy and empowering the girl child. Okay, one of your strongest message at the symposium, and it stayed with many, was your call for parents, especially mothers, to truly listen to their daughters. Why is it so important?
It's important because when you listen to them, you get to find out what they are going through. They will be free to discuss with you their encounters with people, their interaction with people. And when you know where they are at, what they are being fed, what they are hearing, you'll be able to guide them aright. I have 2 girls, for instance, and when they go out and come every day, I ask them, how was your day? My 19-year-old girl, I will ask her, Abe, who chased you today? Did anybody chase you? And then we sit down and talk about it. I have a 25-year-old boy, and I tell him, do you have a girlfriend? I want to see her, bring her home. Because there is need to be in their lives. It's not just having children and parenting. It's gone beyond giving instructions and expecting them to obey. With internet, they learn a lot of things. They see a lot of things. So you need to constantly educate them. Be their friends so that they can tell you when they are in trouble. Sometimes things are happening to them and somebody tells them, don't tell your mother, don't tell your father, if you do, I will kill you. But if they are your friends, and then you would have educated them over time that if something like this happens, if somebody calls you and says, oh, don't say this to your parents, that is when to speak up. That is when to cry out so that people hear you and understand that there's a problem somewhere, and then you realign it. So we call on parents, don't be too strict. Don't be like parents of the 80s, 60s, 70s. Talk, have conversation with your children. Let them bear their minds so that you will understand them more. You should even be worried as a parent if your children are not talking to you. Because a lot will be going through their minds and they are plotting and cooking some things that you don't know. So it's best to bear it on the table. Hear them and guide them, all right.
So I still want to get back to the cultural differences because that's what got my attention. And we've talked about how mothers can get acquainted with their girls and talk about issues. Let's look at, we're trying to empower the girl child, right? Let's look at how, when they want to get into that relation, I like the fact that you bring your child and ask the child who's in your life, let's talk about it. How do you talk to parents about guiding them in terms of cultural differences? Because let's look at the differences. For instance, I'm from Akwa Ibom, I'm from South. You're from Igala, that's from the North Central, if I'm not mistaken, right? We have different cultures. I'm marrying into that culture. Our children are getting married from different backgrounds, different, you know, the world has evolved that we might not really understand the depth of cultures. And when you get in, there's a bit of the culture. So when they, God forbid, but that is always coming.
It's inevitable.
But let's say it comes and the child is still very tender, doesn't understand that thing at the very young. How do you guide the parents, nurture that child at that very sensitive moment? Because I was really shocked when you said the woman dies and they give the man a virgin. And then when the man dies, the woman is buried in every aspect of her life. So I'm trying to look at the psychologically, how she needs to navigate through that phase of her life and the struggle, the mental torture. Then she needs to also be a mother hen for the children and look at the future of those children.
That's why women need to be strong. Women need to be resilient. Women need to know their rights.
Okay.
You need to know where culture starts and where culture ends. And then you have these rules guiding different areas of your life, limiting you as the woman, not giving you the free will or the wings to fly as it's supposed to be. Children in marriages, in homes, also learn from what mothers and fathers do as parents, parenting them. So if you're talking to them, educating them, they would know when such things happen. Like I'm talking about it now. There were people from my area who were not burned at home, who didn't have this knowledge. But when they saw it in my movie, a whole lot of them told me, it's not done. It's never done. But I had an auntie that it happened to. So I saw it live, practiced, enforced. In fact, there are different ways that women are limited. And the only way to do it is through advocacy, through counseling, through talking, and showing them these things. And that's why we're documenting it. I don't do movies for entertainment. I don't do movies for art's sake. I do movies that are functional, impactful, and can teach cultural values, teach core values. And that's why I go the way I go. I had to bring people together to hear their sides of the story, their experiences. And if you notice, there was a speaker, a guest speaker on that panelist, who said she was sent into marriage at the age of 9 by her parents because the father had the fear of having somebody else disvirgining her before her marriage. So I wanted her to go
at
into
9. Is that poverty even complete yet?
9, no. No, but her parents were even well-to-do. So it is a state of mind. And so we need education all around, every time and everywhere. There are set rules that, or beliefs that we all have that we adhere to, even though it doesn't serve any purpose. Why would I send a 9-year-old into marriage? She's not fully formed. She's not fully developed, mentally and otherwise. She's not even ready for marriage. Yet she's gone into marriage. By chance, she has a child in the marriage. She has to cater for that child. She has to nurture, feed, breastfeed,
and the complications
grow.
that comes in with childbearing. When the child comes
The
in,
health hazards,
she's not even
all of them. Health hazards, emotionally, everything comes to bear on the girl. And then if she's not even living up to her responsibility as a mother, as a wife, she'll also be blamed for that. Forgetting the fact that she's not mentally and physically or emotionally ready for that state of mind. So, this is what we need to do from time to time. Let's advocate. For me as an artist, I use my art to advocate, to speak. There are things that I can't do because I'm not a policymaker. But as an actor, as a movie producer, I can speak from my platform, telling people this is wrong. Not outrightly condemning culture, because sometimes some cultures are there to guide, is an identity for the people within that circle of existence, is a way of life for them. Some of them believe it. We can talk about it from now till tomorrow, and some of them will not change. So because they believe in it.
So let's look at the hinterlands. Just like you mentioned, like I said from the start of the conversation, poverty has been a major major driver to all of these things that brings in all of this child pregnancy, early marriages, and shows children off. And your major focus has always been about the education being a stronger tool to guide. I've seen scenarios where we have in a family of lots of girls and the fathers embrace the girl child because they know that the girl child can bring back. Because from what we understand in society is that the girl child even remembers the home front than the male child because of the responsibility the male child has to shoulder. But funny enough, it is in the society that we have where it is a shared responsibility between both the male and the female folks. So how do you help those at the hinterland to understand this education better? Because I don't see proper infrastructure. I don't see proper provision for schools. So how do you intend to drive your education down to those hinterland for them to, because they are the ones that have the cultures, the differences in the cultures, and need to understand this better, because the urban cities understand it better. A lot of children go to school. So how do you help around that with advocacy?
What we do is go to them take this movie in the form of community theater.
Okay.
They are not set theaters, no structures, but we take it to them like the town hall meetings. We call them to a meeting. We don't just premiere the movie, let them watch the movie and go.
Okay.
We let them see the movie. The picture tells a story. The drama, whether they understand the language or not, it tells a story. It's like us growing up and watching Indian films and watching American films and knowing how tough the Americans are and knowing how romantic the Indians are, whether we understood the language or not. So we take these materials to them in a town hall meeting, have them watch it, and then we talk about it. We begin to ask them questions.
Okay.
What did you see here? What did you notice? What did you think was wrong? How could we change this policy? How could we change this system? What can we do?
Okay.
So when they watch it, they see how it played out, they will all form an opinion. And then you can begin to hold conversations with them. We also take this to policymakers. Help them understand that, oh, this is happening in this area, in that area, what can be done? There are places we go, okay, we discover they lack some infrastructures, and then we get partners who can provide such infrastructures and help them understand that you need to reach out to this. They can't be everywhere. So where we go to and we see such things, we bring it to the fore, we help them to understand it. So it is a theater setting where we learn from them, they learn from us, we expose them to the materials that we have, and we tell them stories and have them ask us questions, and we give them the necessary education, and we follow up to see if they understood. You also need the community heads, the church elders, the pastors, the imams of the communities to come in, understand what you're doing, and then they can in turn talk back to them even after you have left.
All right. All right, great.
All right, great. Before we call it a wrap today,
yes, please.
What's your message to a girl child watching now that feel trapped?
If you feel trapped, you can make a difference.
Okay.
You can change the scenario. You can ask for help. You can even run away from that trapped situation. Call on someone. Call on us. Call on people who are doing advocacy. There are different groups that are set up to advocate for a girl child or a boy child. So if you're trapped, speak to someone. If you can't run, there will be somebody in your neighborhood who can hear you out and help you. Call out. Don't stay quiet. Don't feel trapped. Don't be trapped. There's nothing that is impossible for you to do, so long as you focus and you make up your mind to do it. Seek help. Don't be silent.
Okay, so I like the fact that we're speaking to both the girl and the women, the women themselves. So when it comes to empowering the woman itself, how would you expect, or how do you tell women to lift other women in situations like this? Because it takes a whole lot of people around you to guide you in the right step, in the right direction. So how do you do that in terms of the community setting where we have a whole world, so we can transform the mindsets of these women?
When we train a person, an individual, and you go back to your community, we encourage you to train the next person. Replicate yourself.
Okay.
So in the course of doing that, you know that there's somebody you can talk to. There's somebody of like mind who understands you and you can speak to. Sometimes, again, you go speaking to people, they become your problem. So it's best to speak to the right people who are certified, who are positioned, and who are willing to help in a community. So there's nothing you can do without talking, educating, counseling, and exposing them to opportunities and situations that could broaden their minds. That's the most important thing to do. Talk to them.
Okay.
Enable them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Maimuna. Your work continues to challenge and inspire us. And to our viewers, remember, protecting girls is not just a moral obligation, it is a national priority.
To our viewers, remember, when you listen to girls, we change the future. When you empower them, we transform our nation. Join us next week on Women's World as we continue to explore issues shaping the lives of women and girls across the globe. From me, I am Kike Lomo Okere, and
I am Anita Patrick. Thank you so much.
Thank you for more. Thank you
so for having me.
We look forward to having more conversations and changing the narrative of cultures.
We will. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, it's been an amazing time. Have a lovely day ahead of you.
Thank you very much.